All right, good morning from the National Weather Service in Raleigh, North Carolina. My name is Aaron Swiggett, meteorologist here, and I will be providing the routine weekly briefing for Central North Carolina today, covering the period August 17th through the 23rd. All right, so let's go ahead and start off with the drought outlook, hot off the presses earlier this morning. And as you can compare it to the North Carolina image down there in the bottom left, there was a fairly expansive expansion of the abnormally dry conditions across the coastal plain and sandhills region, and even an introduction to moderate drought east of our area towards the coastal Carolinas there. So far, nothing moderate drought within our area, and we noticed that it said ending August 15th, and that was when we had our pretty widespread rainfall across portions of the coastal plain. So we're not entirely sure if that was incorporated into this map as well, as we had probably around 1.5 to maybe upwards of 2.5 to 3 inches in some isolated spots across those areas, including like Franklin, Eastern Wake, Johnston, potentially for Wilson and Nash counties as well. So we may see a reduction in that heading forward, or may not be as bad as this expansion has suggested. Although it has been fairly dry out there, and most of the areas south and west of there, including the southern coastal plain and sandhills, have been pretty dry and are warranted for that expansion into the abnormally dry. So we'll keep monitoring these conditions and update you guys accordingly. All right, so we'll go ahead and hop forward to the upcoming weather pattern for Central North Carolina. Start off with today. We'll have a fairly stationary front that is kind of pinned across Central North Carolina today, kind of looking at surface observations currently, and it is kind of draped from the southern Piedmont towards like the Charlotte kind of area, northeast, just west of Wake County, and up into southeastern Virginia. So for the most part, where this is laying currently, based on the graphic here from the Weather Prediction Center, is pretty much where the stationary front for the most part is located for today. And the best chance for any kind of showers and thunderstorms will be along and mostly east of that boundary there. So that will be the focus for today for some showers and isolated thunderstorms. But for the most part, they're not expected to be any kind of widespread. You know, most areas may not see any kind of precipitation, and then other areas may see some light precipitation as storms decay. And then if you happen to be lucky or unlucky enough, however you look at it, may see a quick 1/2 to 1 inch of rainfall with any of those potentially scattered showers there. Moving forward, we have this cold front here, still in the upper left-hand panel, that's going through the Ohio Valley and mid-Mississippi Valley, and that will fast forward over here into the upper right panel. That cold front will push through and off the coast, forecast to be off the Carolina coast by right around 8 a.m. on Saturday morning. And that'll bring in drier air into the area, and it should be mostly a dry cold frontal passage, and that'll be late Friday into early Saturday. And then the drier air behind that front will remain in place into early next week, but temperatures are expected to rise back up into the mid to upper 90s once again Monday into Tuesday. However, that drier air will still, for the most part, remain slightly moderated, but still in place. So the relative humidity will be fairly low in the 30s and 40s, with the dew points in the roughly mid 60s to low 70s there. So we're not expecting any kind of heat advisory criteria to be met, with heat index values approaching 100 across like the southern sandhills, coastal plain kind of region, climatologically our hotter locations. So not expecting it to get to 105 currently, given that drier air in place. As we move forward, forecast confidence does decrease a little bit heading into early next week, with some uncertainty as an upper level system kind of moves through north of Central North Carolina, mainly in the Ohio Valley and through the northeastern portion of the United States. Claus popped in here. Thank you so much for sort of saying that. So he was mentioning that the drought update only includes rainfall through 9 a.m. on Tuesday morning. So it does not incorporate the rainfall that fell Tuesday afternoon with those widespread rainfall. So I can actually back up here real quick, back to the drought outlook here. So it does not incorporate the heavy rainfall that fell across this circled location here, across Franklin, Wake, Johnston, Nash, and Wilson County, and even down into Wayne County had a decent amount of rainfall. So we'll keep an eye on that heading out into next Thursday. So thank you, Klaus, for adding that additional information. Appreciate that. Alrighty, so we will step forward to the thunderstorm potential. As you can kind of see, the top panels here going from left to right, we'll have maybe our best chance for showers and thunderstorms today. And this may be a little generous heading all the way out towards the triad, but mainly the best chances will be along that stationary front and east of there. So from like Charlotte, Durham, southeastern Virginia, and eastward there. And then heading into Friday and Saturday, as that front kind of pushes through, the thunderstorm chances will be pinned to the coast. And with all of that said, there's not expected to be any kind of severe potential at this time. Okay, so what about rainfall? So I mentioned it a little bit. This is a little bit more of a, I'm up here in the top left image for today. This may be a little bit more of a smooth representation of what may occur today. This looks like a widespread rainfall of 1/10 of an inch to upwards of 1/2 an inch or so with some isolated 3/4 of an inch possible. I'll have a graphic here in a second that may have a little bit better representation of what you can expect today, although these totals will certainly be possible for those areas with better chances towards the east, Raleigh, Fayetteville, and maybe Henderson eastward. Then fast forwarding into Friday, that front pushes through, maybe some very shallow, isolated showers that accompany the front, but we're not expecting anything kind of widespread or any kind of appreciable rainfall with that. And then Saturday and Sunday into Monday, those dry conditions prevail into early next week. And then the 5-day total is, as you could expect, what the rainfall is expected for, mostly confined to just today, Thursday. Okay, here is an image I pulled from a model guidance that we have, which is called the HREF, or the High Resolution Ensemble Forecast. Nick Petro may have talked about this before, but I felt like this gave a relatively good idea of what to kind of expect today as opposed to a broad brush of higher totals. So you can kind of see there mostly light rainfall amounts between 1/10 of an inch or 100th to 1/10 in these lighter greens. But then you kind of see these pockets of heavier rainfall, 1/4 to 1/2 an inch in this darker green, and even some of the blues down here, which is 1/2 to 1 inch rainfall. So if you're underneath one of those storms as it's mature and moves over your area, you may see a quick 1/2 inch to 1 inch, but for the most part, most locations may not see anything or mostly be fairly light precipitation. And with that, again, not a whole lot of heavy precipitation or prolonged training of storms across our area. So no widespread rainfall is expected to lead to any kind of flooding concerns. And then looking out to the 8 to 14 day outlook, courtesy of our friends at the Climate Prediction Center. And this is covering the period from August 24th through the 30th. So heading towards the latter half of, latter quarter actually of August there. And for the most part, generally above normal conditions for temperatures are expected. And with that dry air in place and really a fairly substantial mid and upper level ridge kind of hanging out over most of the mid-Mississippi and Ohio Valley, leading to below normal chances for precipitation. So 30 to 40% chances for below normal. And then the temperatures for our 3 climate sites down there, mainly expecting with the normal temperatures for that time of the year, 24th through the 30th, right around the mid to upper 80s to mid to upper 60s for lows. So for the temperature outlook there, 30 to 50% chances that those temperatures will be warmer than that average throughout that week time frame. All right, and then we'll polish this off here with the NHC the National Hurricane Center 7-day graphical weather outlook. As you can kind of see, there's a little bit more activity going on there, with an area across the western Gulf of Mexico area having a 30% chance of the development in the next 7 days, and then 2 areas, invest areas, down in the central Atlantic, central to eastern Atlantic, and both of those areas have around 60% chance of formation in the next 7 days. With the frontal passages that I've been mentioning, for the most part, there should be some fronts to kind of keep those and push those either north or to the east, but it's too far out to kind of tell during this time. We're not expecting, given the surface pattern and mid-level pattern, these will be much of a concern as of now, so we'll continue to monitor these as we head forward. And that's all I have for you guys. So some scattered showers expected today, and maybe some isolated thunderstorms. But then the dry cold front pushes through, rain's in place, and then temperatures warm back up into the mid to upper 90s heading into the early portions of next week. And we're not expecting any of those heat indices to be of too much concern, but up into the hundreds will certainly be possible in some areas. And that's all I have for everyone today. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will hang on for any questions. Thank you so much.